they're changing my voice. I am not gay. This is part 12. It is about why people do not all see eye to eye, about the value of having a suitable helper, about sex, about love, and about romance. So the picture you see on the screen is a picture of me at 17. Okay, they've edited it a little bit to try to make it so I seem evil in the picture. I was very focused. The eyes are similar to what it was. It was very sharp, kind of falcon, heterosexual, African, masculine eyes, right? And you could tell that I had a certain brain function, right? And I had done martial arts, and I started moving on to do my own kind of martial arts, kind of changing the kicks and the punches a bit and different things to suit, my beliefs and my philosophy, my spirit, what have you. And so you can tell that when I was 17, I developed faster than other people, but in a certain way. Like I didn't look like a young Hulk Hogan, right? Who was kind of, circus strongman kind of muscles, right? Kind of stimpy with more muscles or something, right? But I had a sort of very defined and serious body from hours and hours of basketball every day and hours of martial arts after that, right? And so on and so forth. And also from my moral, mental, spiritual, and romantic imperative. I made a song like a year before that or so where I said that females want a ball and ignore the deeper call, and so on and so forth. And I was hurting a lot, right? I smoked weed, I drink when I could, and I was in a lot of pain from, society being so evil and females shunning me. So someone with sense would say, hey, I grew up faster than other people. In fact, if this was like the Bible, and she was from the Philistines or something, and I'd be like the greatest warrior on my side and greatest warrior on either side, and I'd take her as plunder. You see what I'm saying? That'd be fair and square. Now again, I wouldn't choose this person because they're not the ideal female to me, but certainly attractive, so on and so forth. The point is, if I did, that it'd be fair. Okay, because according to the laws of the Bible, to keep it simple for those who aren't mature enough to understand, a moral war, which we don't see any country or any army doing, what have you. Anyway, so I develop at a certain rate for those of you who are a little confused, okay? And other people don't develop at that rate. So therefore, my 17 is like, someone trying hard to be morals like, 29 or 30, okay? So that person, when they're 30, even 40, that person in their whole life, they will never have the same degree of maturity, romance, right, spirituality, mental prowess, etc., that I had when I was 17. In fact, than I had when I was 15, but that's a story for another day. So now what does it mean for intimacy needs? It means I should have been married by 17 years old. Now, for those of you who are like, no, keep in mind that long ago, people used to die at 33. It was not out of the ordinary for people to be married at 17, and a lot of cultures were more warlike. Okay? So there's that. And certainly, someone as sensitive and sharp and righteous and deserving as I am shouldn't have to settle. In fact, the word settle is a play on words for set. And ill, mentally ill, set meaning, the devil, right? The Egyptian deity of evil and rape and chaos, who's Zeus's Egyptian counterpart, Baal, and from the Bible's Egyptian counterpart, what have you. Storms, rape, organized rape by deception. It's not good to settle. That's what the devil wants you to do. Okay. So obviously, gold diggers and people with a financial imperative, and the people that raised them, and all these kind of crony capitalists and communists who control reproduction, like everyone you can think of who is very organized in society, okay, wants people to date with a scale of falsehood. And it's key that they don't live moral repetition. So if you were to say this to say somebody who's a French person, right? They have their conception of romance, right? I brought this up in the last video. An Italian person, a Spanish person, a Mexican person, a black person from the ghetto, an Arab, a white person, on and on, right? A Jewish person from Israel, right? Their conception of romance is infinitely different than mine. So it's stupid for them to try to seize control of reproduction, or for anyone else, and to say, hey, let's do it in a way that suits us. That's fucking retarded. And only someone who didn't grow up would choose that path. So when we see a lot of people who look like, they have development disorders, brain disorders, they look like their growth was stunted. They look like a younger person, kind of like a mall rat, what have you. We know that something is wrong and it affects their dating process. Now keep in mind, as the saying goes, nobody's perfect, right? Okay, in a sense I am, but nobody's perfect in terms of the flesh. I mean, you can go on and on about the nuances between being divinely perfect and, being perfect using a kind of secular flesh-based scale. That's a story for another day as well. So I want to keep these videos short. I've already gone over time. So again, not all people see eye to eye about the value of having a suitable helper, nor do they see eye to eye about romance. So imagine a young Pee Wee Herman when he's 17. You think him and I see eye to eye about the importance of true love? You think we see eye to eye in regards to when someone should get married or how someone should live their life? Okay, moral, mental, spiritual, and romantic are connected in a sense to the same thing. We don't have the same mentality. We don't have the same romantic implication. The romantic tendencies. Okay, we don't have the same spiritual beliefs and spiritual life. We don't have the same, set of morals. Okay, so we don't see eye to eye when it comes to whether or not females should submit to God through me. Now keep in mind, God is infinitely more mature. The Bible talks about milk before being given the bread and the solid food for the mature. Other people are not as mature as I am. Freemasons, they just put on a show. Politicians put on a show. You name it, lawyers, businessmen, you name it. No matter what you're talking about, if it's a culture that's commonly out there, they're just putting on a show. People in church, it's just a show. It's a circus show. Look at Joel Osteen, Billy Graham. Look at all the famous Christians they have now. Pat Robertson. Look at your small town churches. They're just all white social norm fanatics and token minorities. Everyone knows that. So to make a long story short, I'm obviously the master on this issue. Marshall is marital scrambled. I'm the master when it comes to religious issues, spiritual issues, moral issues, when it comes to wisdom, when it comes to marriage, right? The bridegroom, right? The bridge room, right? Bridging the gap to help you understand where you went wrong. Okay? There isn't a female on this planet who's attractive that doesn't need for me to perfect them before they could possibly be worthy to date me. And there's a lot of people who are white supremacists who don't want to admit that to themselves, to their extreme disgrace. A lot of people are social norm fanatics. A lot of people are royals. Yes, we lord it over the Gentiles. Yes, who don't want to admit to themselves. A lot of people want to scream up and down that magically the Jews are magically chosen, who don't want to admit to themselves that they're wrong. A lot of scientists, eugenicists, lots of different kinds of people, lots of gang members, pimps, lots of porn directors, what have you. A lot of bad people. And they don't want to admit that I'm right and that they're wrong. There's some people who would argue that that female in that picture is magically more mature than I am now, right? Which is fucking outrageous. Okay? I go as far as say when I was freaking like 13, I was more mature than she is. I chose a better life path. I had a better plan, a better understanding of God. I mean, it's fucking retarded to not know that I'm right. And again, I'm not trying to insult her. I'm sure she's a nice lady. I'd even date her and, talk to her and get to know her, what have you. But, and I like other types of females. More of a story for another day. I'm not some kind of, I don't like females that look young on purpose, but, I consider your actual age and so on and so forth. But anyway, she looks like she's 14. Now you think a female who looks and acts like she's 14, okay, is more mature than the top martial artist when he actually was 14. Most people say, well, duh, she's not. So why would so many people hesitate to admit that? And most of those people who say, duh, she's not, if they were pressed about it and told, hey, you can't agree with this guy, they would not admit that they see it my way. We do not see eye to eye. God is love. Over my dead body would I lie about love. No way. You'd have to kill me first, as the saying goes. No fucking way. Where everyone else is living the lie that they believe. Their cultural, social, political, racial lie. Their religious falsehoods. In fact, the word religion is a play on words for ear, legion, or error, legion, erroneous error. Okay? or re, meaning again, legion. Now, what is legion? Well, in the Bible, which connects to a lot of this wordplay, right? For example, tear, T-E-A-R, is a play on words for tear. The tares versus the wheat. But anyway, in the Bible, the legion was the demon that Jesus cast out into the pigs. There are a bunch of demons, and they were cast out in this massive herd of pigs, and as the story goes, they go into the water and they drown themselves. Obviously, it's figurative, just like Samson getting all the foxtails and tying them together and setting them on fire just to burn down one structure. It's completely figurative. You know, this guy's not going to gather hundreds of foxtails. Can you imagine trying to gather hundreds of foxtails? Where the fuck are you going to find them? Not even the zoo has them. You see what I'm saying? And just to burn down something you can burn down a different way. So it's clear that I'm right. It's clear. And if you have sense, you know that I'm right. And some people would look at that picture, you know, and they say, oh, he looks like he needs to get laid. And they be on to something. And even the word laid is a play on words for lay, without the Y, right? The sounds, the phonetics, right? And ID. And lay and the ID backwards is die. And part of the reason why people get killed, for example, by serial killers, is about, is rape. Is sexual control, sexual desire. The psychiatrist Freud, and of course I don't agree with him about a great many things, he argued that all mental disorder, the root cause of all mental disorder, and I don't have a mental disorder, and I didn't have it back then either. I had a lot of stress, that's a different story. But anyway, he argues that the root cause of all mental disorders is unfulfilled sexual desire. Now, before you say, he's right, whose? The serial killer? No, he needs to get his mind right first. He needs to have he needs to have a morally precise sexual desire before he can argue that his problem is merely unfulfilled sexual desire. Problem is he's fucked in the head, and he's a sinner, and he's sexually immoral. And then he goes, hey guys, I want to have it my way, and you should all fucking bend over backwards, and we're going to depopulate the world and everything, and socially engineer to make it so. Okay, that's wrong.